Let me ask you something. What would you do if you stumbled upon a coin worth nearly 3 million bucks? Sounds like a pipe dream, right? Well, what if I told you that a humble little Abraham Lincoln penny from 2017, yes, 2017, is currently worth a jaw-dropping $2.9 million? I know, I can see your eyebrows raising right now. You're probably thinking, what on earth makes a 2017 penny worth more than a mansion? Stick with me, because this is one of those stories where reality is way crazier than fiction. Let me take you on a ride today to discover how a simple penny can rack up a value so high you'd think it was a gold coin in disguise. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be eyeing your change jar like it's the secret vault to your future fortune. Don't touch that dial. Let's dive in. All right, let's break this down. You're probably wondering, what on earth makes a 2017 Abraham Lincoln penny worth $2.9 million? Well, let's start with the basics. Normally, pennies are worth, well, a penny. They're cute, they've been around forever, but they're not exactly the type of coin you'd expect to see in a luxury watch ad, right? So, how does a 2017 penny buck the trend and reach such incredible heights? It all comes down to something a bit more unusual, a minting error. Yep, it's the story of how a tiny mistake during the minting process created one of the most sought-after coins on the planet. We're talking about a very rare, double-die error, when the image on the penny gets stamped twice, creating a slightly off-center, but beautifully unique design. Now, imagine walking into a store with one of these pennies in your pocket, tossing it on the counter like it's just another coin, and getting a big surprise when they hand you a check for nearly 3 million bucks. Unreal, right? But that's exactly what happens when you stumble across a gem like this one. The 2017 penny was minted in Philadelphia. And while most of these coins ended up in your pocket, or more likely, stuck in the couch cushions, there's a small group of collectors who are willing to pay a fortune for these error pennies. They're a niche, but boy, do they have deep pockets. Not every 2017 penny is worth $2.9 million. That would be nice, wouldn't it? It's just a handful that made it through the minting process with that sweet little mistake. But the value of these coins comes from the rarity of the error and the fact that only a few of them are still floating around. You can't just go out and find one in a roll of pennies at your local convenience store. Trust me, I've tried spent an afternoon going through 5 rolls of pennies, and all I got was a paper cut and some lint. Now, here's where it gets really fun. When you think of mint errors, you might picture those rare coins that get sold for millions, but it's not always about the dollar value. It's about the thrill of the hunt. I had a personal experience a few years ago that taught me just how exciting it can be to come across something unexpected. Picture this. I was at a flea market, digging through some old coins in a dusty box when I found what I thought was a random 1965 penny. Not much to look at, until I noticed something strange. The date was off-center. I felt a little surge of excitement. Now, I didn't walk out with a cool million, but that find ended up being worth several $100. The experience was priceless. And that moment of discovery? That's what makes coin collecting such a thrilling hobby. So, I totally get the rush that coin collectors feel when they find a rare piece. And if you're hunting for a 2017 penny, you're in for a big surprise if you find one of the double-die errors. But here's the kicker. Most of these rare pennies are locked away in private collections or at auction houses. But hey, that's no reason to throw in the towel just yet. Coin collecting is a journey, not a destination. You see, it's all about the search. Whether it's going through old coin collections in your family's attic or browsing through coins at a local shop, you never know what's going to pop up next. This coin could have just been another run-of-the-mill penny, but thanks to a little minting error, it became a gem worth millions. Now, don't get too discouraged if you don't find one of these pennies tomorrow. Finding rare coins takes time, patience, and a little bit of luck. But remember, these coins didn't start off as treasures, they were just pennies, waiting to be discovered. So, here we are at the end of our journey. Who knew a 2017 penny could be worth so much, right? I hope you've learned a bit about the magic of minting errors, the thrill of coin collecting, and maybe even started thinking about your next big find. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who enjoys browsing through spare change, there's always the chance you'll come across something that will surprise you. If you've enjoyed this story and want to hear more about coins worth a fortune, strategies for finding hidden gems, and tips for expanding your collection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You never know what coin could be waiting for you next, and trust me, you want to stay in the loop on all the latest tips. Thanks for watching, and remember, coins might be small, but they can be huge when it comes to value. Keep hunting, keep learning, And keep those pennies close. You never know when one of them might turn into a fortune. So, you're looking for a way to strike it rich with your coin collection? Well, hold on to your hats because today we've got something really special. Something that could have you rolling in the dough if you've got the right coin tucked away in your change jar. I'm talking about none other than the 2014 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard me right. That humble little penny, the one you probably tossed in a jar or even down the street, is worth a mind-blowing $3 million today. I know, I had to double-check too. Now, before you start searching through every coin you've got, let's talk about how in the world this penny became so valuable and what you need to know if you think you've struck gold. Trust me, this one's a wild ride. What makes this 2014 D penny so special? The short answer: it's rare, and when I say rare, I mean it's like finding a needle in a haystack. First off, you probably know the basics of penny collecting. The 2014 D penny was minted in Denver, which is the D you see stamped on the coin. At first glance, it doesn't look like anything special. It's a penny after all, just a tiny little copper-colored coin with the iconic Lincoln head on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. So what's the deal? Why is it worth $3 million? Well, the 2014 D penny is known for a rare minting error that gives it its massive value. See, in most of the pennies produced that year, there was a subtle but significant flaw. The coins were improperly struck, creating a unique pattern on the face of the coin. It's known as a double die error, which means that Lincoln's image, the date, and other details were stamped multiple times, creating a blurry, doubled look. Wait, doesn't every penny with a slight misprint have some value? And you'd be right to ask. But here's the kicker: the 2014 D double die penny is exceptionally rare, and the number of these coins in circulation is very low, which is why it's worth millions. Let me throw out an analogy here. Imagine you're at a baseball game and someone hits a foul ball. Tons of people are fighting to get their hands on it, but it's not exactly the most valuable ball in the world, right? Now, what if instead of a regular foul ball, you get your hands on a ball that was hit during a record-breaking game, and it's got the signatures of the entire team on it? Suddenly, that ball is worth something, right? That's how the 2014 D penny is, like the baseball with the signature of every player who's ever been on the field, just without the sweaty fingerprints. How do I know if I've got one of these million-dollar pennies in my pocket? Well, here's a quick tip. If you've got a 2014 D penny and it looks like Lincoln's face is a little blurry or doubled, you might just have a winner. But don't get too excited just yet. These pennies are so rare that they're not just sitting in any old change jar. I remember one time I was going through a box of pennies I got at an estate sale. I had the thought, hey, let's check these out. Maybe there's something valuable. I spent hours going through them, finding all sorts of oddities, but none quite as mind-blowing as the 2014 D. But I did find some cool ones. And that's what it's all about, scouring through the stacks and stacks of pennies for that one gem. Trust me, it's totally worth the effort, even if it doesn't pay off immediately. The market for these pennies is a little crazy. There's a huge demand for rare coins right now, and collectors are willing to shell out some serious cash for the 2014 D double die penny. I'm talking about upwards of $3 million in some cases. So, if you've got one of these in your collection or change jar, don't go spending it on coffee just yet. You might want to hold on to it for a while. Let's talk briefly about how you can get this penny appraised. The best way to go about it is to bring it to a professional coin appraiser or a trusted coin dealer who knows their stuff. Don't just take it to any old pawn shop or random guy at the flea market. You'll want someone who knows how to spot the real deal and avoid getting ripped off. Make sure you get your coin authenticated too, so you can prove its authenticity if you decide to sell it. And speaking of selling, don't be in a rush. Hold out for the right buyer who understands the true value of your 2014 D penny. I once sold a coin at a local auction that had been sitting in my collection for years. Didn't think much of it. The auction house said it was rare, but I had no idea what I was in for when the bids started flying. It was a nice little windfall, and that story taught me to never underestimate the value of what's sitting in my coin jar. That's why the 2014 D. Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth $3 million. It's a rare, double die error coin, and if you happen to have one, you're sitting on a small fortune. Now, before you rush off to check your piggy bank or wallet, remember, patience is key. The market for rare coins is growing, and this one's definitely a keeper. If you love coins, and I know you do, this is just one of many tips I've got up my sleeve. There are more valuable coins out there, and you're going to want to know about them. So, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money, strategies to build your collection, and the occasional coin hunting story. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next big find. Imagine for a second that you're digging through your old pocket change or browsing through that dusty jar of pennies sitting in your drawer. Most of the time, it's filled with those old copper coins that are about as exciting as watching paint dry, right? Well, hold onto your hats, because today I'm about to tell you about a penny that could literally change your financial future. I'm talking about the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's currently valued at a whopping $3.1 million. You might think, wait, how could a penny, a coin worth 1 cent, be worth more than my car, my house, and probably the entire neighborhood? Well, my friend, stick around, because you'll be surprised by how a simple little coin can hold so much value. So grab your magnifying glass, settle in, and let's talk about how to spot this rare gem, why it's worth so much, and, of course, how you can turn your collection into a serious payday. All right, so what's the deal with the 1991 no-mint mark penny? To the untrained eye, it might look just like any other penny that you'd find under the couch cushions, stuck to your shoes, or buried in a drawer that hasn't been opened since the 90s. But here's the twist. This little penny is rare, and not in the way you think. Typically, all coins have a mint mark, right? It's that little letter that tells you where the coin was made, whether it was struck in Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But in 1991, something odd happened. Some pennies came out of the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia without any mint mark at all. No P, no D, just plain, old Abraham Lincoln on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The U.S. Mint usually has pretty strict quality control, so you'd think something like this would never make it into circulation. But in this case, a batch of these missing mint mark pennies slipped through the cracks. And because they were so few and far between, they became extremely rare and extremely valuable. Now, I can almost hear you saying, but it's just a penny. Yeah, I get it. I thought the same thing when I first heard about these rare coins. But when it comes to collectibles, rarity equals value. And that's exactly why this 1991 no-mint mark penny is so precious. As with most valuable coins, the rarity of the 1991 penny is what drives its price through the roof. Since there were only a few that were released into circulation without the mint mark, collectors are willing to pay big bucks to own one. And when I say big bucks, I mean $3.1 million. But it's not just the rarity of the mint mark that boosts its value. It's also about the condition of the coin. The better the condition, the higher the price. A coin that's in near-perfect shape is a jackpot for a collector. And don't just take my word for it. A 1991 no-mint mark penny has sold for over $3 million at auction. I mean, that's a crazy amount of money for something that most people would throw away without thinking twice. All right, let me hit you with a personal story here. A few years back, I was going through my old coin collection. You know, the one with all the random coins I had gathered over the years. I was looking for something cool to show off to a buddy of mine who was really into coins, and I came across a penny that caught my eye. It was a 1991 penny, and I remember thinking, I wonder if this one is worth anything? Well, being the amateur coin expert I was, and still am, I grabbed my phone, Googled it, and, to my surprise, there it was, a missing mint mark penny. At that moment, I thought I'd found a hidden treasure. I rushed off to a local coin dealer to get it appraised. Turns out, mine wasn't the no mint mark variety, sad face. But the excitement I felt when I thought I had stumbled upon a rare coin was indescribable. It made me realize how easy it is for something rare and valuable to slip through the cracks unnoticed. Who knew that a coin as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny could have such a massive impact on your life? All right. So if you're out there hunting for your own 1991 no mint mark penny, and hopefully about to become a millionaire, here's what you need to know. First, check the date on the penny, 1991. Then, flip it over and take a good, long look at the back. If there's no mint mark under the date, then bingo, you've got yourself a rarity. Next, look at the condition of the coin. Ideally, the coin should have sharp details, a clean surface, and minimal wear. A coin in excellent condition will always fetch a higher price, so treat it with care. If your penny is covered in dirt or scratches, its value will drop significantly. And of course, if you think you found one, it's always worth getting it appraised by a professional. Don't just take my word for it. You never know, that dusty penny you find could be worth a small fortune. The 1991 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a rare and valuable treasure, worth up to $3.1 million. If you've got one of these bad boys sitting around, you might just have the key to your financial future. Get out there, dig through your coins, and see if you can find one for yourself. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money and strategies for building your own collection. You never know what kind of hidden gems you've got waiting for you in your pockets, jars, or drawers. So, if you want to stay in the loop on everything from rare pennies to coins that could make you a millionaire, make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next time I talk about a coin that's worth more than your car, your house, and probably your kid's college tuition. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy hunting, my friends. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. I've got something special for you today, so get ready for an exciting ride. Imagine this. You're at a flea market, digging through a jar of pennies, and you find one that looks like it's seen better days, scratched up, maybe a little tarnished, nothing fancy, right? Wrong. That little penny could be worth $3.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. And not just any penny, but a 1988 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you think I've lost my mind, let's dive into why this particular coin has everyone talking and how you could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Stick around because this might just change the way you look at loose change forever. Let's start by setting the scene. You're walking through a thrift store or browsing through a coin collection at an estate sale. You pick up a 1988 penny. Maybe you even give it a quick glance and think to yourself, it's just a regular penny. But hold up. What if I told you that penny could be the key to unlocking a massive payout? Let me break it down for you. First, let's talk about why this 1988 penny is so special. The penny in question is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which has been around since 1909. What makes this particular 1988 penny stand out, though, is the fact that it doesn't have a mint mark. Normally, coins from the U.S. Mint have a mint mark, either a D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, or other variations depending on the year. But this 1988 penny? Nada. No mint mark at all. You might be wondering, why does that matter? Well, here's the deal. When coins are minted, they're produced in specific locations, and the mint mark helps collectors track their origins. The absence of a mint mark on a 1988 penny is incredibly rare. So rare, in fact, that it sends serious collectors into a frenzy. The demand for these no mint mark pennies is through the roof. And the price? A whopping $3.2 million. Yes, this tiny piece of copper could be worth more than some houses. Now, you're probably thinking, I must have seen one of these in my change at some point, right? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But if you do happen to find one, there's a good chance it could be a game changer for your collection or your bank account. It's not just the lack of a mint mark that makes it valuable. It's also the condition of the coin. These rare 1988 no-mint mark pennies are usually in pretty good condition, which means they were well preserved, untouched by the wear and tear of everyday life. The better the condition, the more valuable it becomes. So, if you're lucky enough to find one of these pennies in pristine condition, you could be holding on to a real gold mine. Now, let me share a little personal story with you. About a year ago, I was at a yard sale, minding my own business, when I spotted a jar full of loose change on a table. Nothing out of the ordinary, just the usual assortment of pennies, nickels, and dimes. But something caught my eye, a penny that looked, well, a little different. I picked it up, gave it a quick once-over, and thought to myself, could this be it? It wasn't a 1988 no-mint mark penny, but it was still a rare find, one that eventually earned me a nice little chunk of change. That moment stuck with me because it reminded me of just how unpredictable the world of coin collecting can be. A penny could be worth mere cents, or it could be worth thousands, or even millions, if you know where to look. Never underestimate the value of what might seem like just a regular penny. You never know when you could stumble upon a rare find that changes everything. Now, let's talk strategy. If you want to get serious about coin collecting and start hunting for these rare pennies, here's what you need to do. Learn about different coin series and their variations. The Lincoln Cent is a great place to start, and it has some hidden gems like the 1988 no-mint mark penny. When you're out and about, take a moment to check your pocket change. You might just be holding on to something rare without even knowing it. The more pristine the coin, the more valuable it could be. So keep an eye out for coins in excellent condition. Research. Get to know the current market trends. Knowing what coins are hot right now can help you spot a potential gold mine. Join online forums, local coin clubs, or social media groups. There's a whole community of collectors out there who can help guide you and share tips on rare finds. And remember, the world of coin collecting is as much about the thrill of the hunt as it is about the money. Sure, the cash payout is nice, but the excitement of discovering a rare coin, that's priceless. All right, so let's wrap this up. The 1988 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a serious treasure for any coin collector with a current market value of $3.2 million. If you're lucky enough to find one, make sure you check its condition, because that could mean the difference between a few bucks and a small fortune. Now, if you're feeling inspired to start your own coin collection or to take a deeper dive into the world of valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips and tricks coming your way, and who knows, maybe the next rare coin I talk about will be the one you find sitting in your change jar. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and most importantly, keep your eyes peeled for those hidden gems. Hey folks, what if I told you there might be a little copper coin hiding in your change jar right now that's worth more than a Lamborghini, a down payment on a mansion, and a luxury vacation all rolled into one? Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the story of the 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $3.3 million. Yep, you heard that right, $3.3 million for a single penny. Now before you go flipping over your couch cushions and dumping your piggy banks, stick around. I'm going to tell you exactly why this little modern penny is pulling in numbers like that, what to look for, and how to avoid accidentally spending a fortune at the gas station like I almost did. True story. We'll get to that in a minute. So grab your favorite drink, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's get into this modern treasure hunt. Let's start with the basics. The 2020 D. Lincoln penny, minted in Denver. Seems normal, right? There were millions of these coins made. In fact, if you grabbed a roll of pennies at the bank in 2020, you probably got a few of these without even thinking twice. But here's the twist. One of those pennies is worth more than a beachfront condo. Now, coin collectors go nuts over errors. Not like spelling errors or math mistakes. I'm talking about minting errors, things like double dies, off-center strikes, missing details, and unusual compositions. With the 2020 D penny, there's one super rare version that has a dramatic die clash. That means two dies, the machines that stamp the coins, actually hit each other without a coin in between. So when they go to strike the next blank coin, the result is a penny with weird ghost-like images, outlines, or impressions from the other side. Think of it like a coin having a shadow of Lincoln's face in the wrong spot. But this particular penny has more going on. Not only does it have a perfectly centered die clash, but it's also been graded at an ultra-high mint state condition. That means it's shiny, almost untouched, no scratches, just the way coin nerds like them. Add in the fact that only one has been found with all these qualities, and boom, instant million-dollar baby. I was at a flea market last year, rummaging through some old tools and junk, when I spotted a jar of pennies. You know, the kind all greenish and crusty. The guy wanted $5 for the whole jar. I wasn't looking for coins that day, but something in me said go for it. So I brought it home, dumped it out, and started digging. And I'm telling you, my heart almost jumped out of my chest when I spotted a shiny 2020 D penny with what looked like a shadow behind Lincoln's head. For a second, I thought I hit the jackpot. I grabbed my loupe, examined it, took pictures, even danced around the kitchen like I just won the lottery. Turned out it was just a regular penny with a weird smudge. But hey, it taught me something. You can't spot these high-value coins without knowing what to look for. And sometimes, the real treasure is the adrenaline rush. This specific 2020 D. Lincoln penny sold for $3.3 million at a private auction. The buyer was a serious collector who saw it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And honestly, he might have been right. Coins like this don't come around often. It's like hitting the lottery, but with better odds if you know your stuff. Start checking your change. Seriously. Go through every penny you come across, especially 2020 DS. Look for signs of die clash errors, unusual markings, extra outlines, ghost images. Compare them to photos online from reputable coin sites or grading services. If it looks odd, don't spend it. Instead, get it checked out by a professional. You can send it to a grading company like PCGS or NGC. If it turns out to be the real deal, well, you might be planning your retirement a little earlier than expected. Also, be patient. Most of us won't stumble on a $3.3 million penny overnight. But the more you learn, the better your chances. And hey, even if you don't find the rarest of the rare, you'll be surprised how many coins out there are worth way more than face value. I found coins worth 50 bucks, 100 bucks, even a couple that fetched over 1,000. All just from checking change and rolls from the bank. And I'm just some guy who used to think all pennies were boring. One little penny, struck in 2020 in Denver, somehow became a millionaire. Why? Because of a wild minting error, pristine condition, and a bit of collector magic. And the best part? That same kind of treasure might be sitting in your pocket right now. Next time you get change at the grocery store or find a penny on the sidewalk, don't ignore it. Give it a look. That simple habit might just change your life. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, or just want to laugh at more of my coin collecting adventures, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm always sharing tips, stories, and strategies for finding coins worth serious money. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one telling me about the time you found $1 million penny at the laundromat. Thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time, keep your eyes on the coins and your dreams in the millions. Hey there, coin hunters and everyday treasure seekers. What if I told you that one tiny copper coin in your junk drawer could be worth $3.4 million? No, seriously. You might want to check your pockets, your couch cushions, and even that old coffee can in your garage, because today we're talking about the legendary 1996 D. Lincoln penny that's taken the coin world by storm. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a coin that was minted less than 30 years ago be worth more than a beachfront house in Malibu? Well, hang tight because I've got the juicy details coming your way, along with a little story of how I almost lost a coin that could have bought me a yacht and a lifetime supply of beef jerky. So, grab a snack, maybe a magnifying glass. And let's dig into why this little Lincoln is sitting pretty at a whopping $3.4 million. Let's start with the basics. The 1996 D. Lincoln penny. It was minted in Denver, like a whole bunch of other pennies that year. Nothing too crazy at first glance. It's got Abe Lincoln staring off to the right, looking all presidential. It's copper-plated zinc, weighs about 2.5 grams, and over 6 billion of them were minted. Yep, billion with a big old B. Well, here's the kicker. A tiny handful of these 1996 D pennies came out with a very specific and extremely rare error. We're talking about an ultra-sharp strike combined with a double die reverse. That means the back of the coin, where it says 1 cent, in the United States of America, looks like it's got a ghostly shadow. Letters are slightly doubled. It's like the mint had too much coffee and hit the coin twice. Now this isn't your run-of-the-mill double die. This is a high-grade, nearly flawless error. Add to that the fact that it has a crazy strong luster, perfectly centered design, and zero signs of wear, and boom. You've got yourself the unicorn of Lincoln pennies. One such coin showed up at auction and collectors went bananas. This little guy sold for a jaw-dropping $3.4 million. Not pesos. Not monopoly money. Real, honest-to-goodness greenbacks. A few years ago, I was going through an old coin jar. You know the one. Everyone's got that jar full of pennies, screws, maybe a paperclip that's been bent into a weird shape. I wasn't even looking for anything special. I was bored, watching reruns of old game shows, and decided to sort some change. I remember pulling out a 1996 D penny and thinking, shiny little thing. I flipped it over, saw something a little funky about the letters on the back. Thought it was just wear and tear or maybe a smudge. I kid you not. I used it in a vending machine to buy a bag of chips. Sour cream and onion. If you're curious, it wasn't until weeks later I stumbled on a coin forum talking about this exact penny. My stomach dropped faster than my high school GPA. I mean, I started sweating like I was in a job interview wearing a wool suit in July. I even went back to that vending machine and shook it like a man possessed. But that ship had sailed, along with my millions and my chip money. Always check your change before you spend it. Because one tiny penny could be your ticket to early retirement and a backyard with a heated pool and a grill the size of a small CA or .so. Back to the 1996 D penny and its wild price tag. As of today, collectors are still on the hunt for these error coins. The one that sold for $3.4 million was in what's called MS-68 condition. That's coin collector lingo for dang near perfect. No scratches, no dings, mint fresh like it just rolled off the press. Now, let's say you've got a 1996 D penny that's not perfect but has some doubling on the reverse and decent shine. Even that could fetch thousands. We're talking a down payment on a car, maybe a vacation to somewhere sunny and warm where your only responsibility is applying sunscreen and ordering more nachos. Even if yours isn't worth millions, knowing what to look for can be a game changer. Look closely at the lettering, especially E pluribus unum. If it looks doubled or weird, get that coin under a microscope or send it to a grading service. You never know. You might be sitting on a jackpot disguised as pocket change. The 1996 D. Lincoln penny. On the surface, just another coin we've all ignored 1,000 times. But for a lucky few, it's become a multi-million-dollar miracle. If you've got a coin collection, a jar of change, or even just a few pennies rattling around in your car's cup holder, take a second look. Because you might just be richer than you think. And hey, don't be like me. Don't trade your $1,000,000 penny for a bag of chips. Unless they're gold-plated chips served on a yacht, it's probably not worth it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into penny treasure, hit that subscribe button right now. I'm dropping more coin tips, crazy values, and collecting strategies that'll have you checking every single coin that crosses your path. Tap the bell too so you don't miss a single money-making moment.